Man, Mike, it feels really good to be back. We had this Sports Amigos train going for a bit, and then life brought it to a halt. It's now time to bring it back. Man, it's great to see your face with that 1998 headset and just talking Sports Amigos again.
So I gotta say, this is the headset my work gave me. So this is free, and journalists around the world understand the value of free. That if you can get stuff for free, you gobble that stuff up, man.
Free gear, free food, free anything is good.
Oh my gosh. So going back to my days covering Oregon, one of the coolest things was you get to like the big bowl games, and that's where you get like really fun stuff. Like backpack is swag, and then like you go down to like the media room, they have stands of like cookies and chips and snacks. And that trip, I filled up a giant bag, brought that back, and lived off that for work for like another 3-4 months just because of the oh crud, I'm going into basketball season and then baseball season. How am I going to live or eat or survive? Well, thank you, NCAA football.
You always were kind of the king of leftovers. Now that I think about it, in Abilene, whether it was your Papa Murphy's pizza,
Yep.
or anything, yeah, I always respected your leftovers game.
Dude,
Very,
how can
it's still
you
strong.
I I would be the first one to rake people over the coals in the industry if there's like 4 boxes of pizza left and you at least don't try and go through production and say, guys, take this stuff home. Because I got to the point where I was like, okay, I'll take some home, but I don't want to live off this for like the next 3-4 days. But I'll have like a couple slices over the weekend. But like, no, I got to the point where it's like, production guys, please, I know you want food. I know you like free stuff. Take this.
Very rare for me. I'm still in that position. Friday night, pizza left after a high school football show. Hey guys, who wants leftovers? And it never gets left. Like someone takes it. So that's always
God,
a good feeling.
somebody has to take one for the team. So what you been up to, man? It's been a hot minute since we've been able to do this. Like, I know we'll get into like your latest and greatest news of Becca putting a ring on it in a little while back, but I know since basically that transition point from season 1 to season 2, and then up until your wedding, we've both been just busy, 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 busy. How wild was that like 6-7 month stretch?
Yeah, it was nuts because there was a stretch where we were coming out of the post pandemic, quote unquote. I mean, we're still in it, but like things have really opened up in New
Right.
Mexico in particular. I think every state had different timelines of things opening up. And yeah, New Mexico really opened up in 2021, late 2021 in particular. And really September 2021 was the last time we actually got to record an episode with someone else. And that goes to show how busy we've been since September 2021 because
It
we
sort of
haven't
makes
been
sense
here.
because you're going into football season at that point, and everything
Right.
else like family life, personal life is just thrown to the wolves with football season.
Yeah, and it took a while to adjust, no doubt about it. And yeah, like you said, got married May of 2022, which by the time this airs will be almost a month away.
Yeah.
And yeah, you were here for that. That meant the world to me. You got to make it in time for the bachelor party and for the festivities on Saturday. And then the wedding was actually on Sunday. So yeah, I had this unique experience. I think everyone's wedding experience is very different. We certainly had two completely different wedding experiences. Mine was a 4 day buildup of family coming in waves and friends coming in waves. And it was a blur, man. I heard the cliches going in. Oh, it's gonna go by fast, and I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever, whatever. But it really did, dude. Like, yeah, it didn't help that the last portion of the bachelor party basically got erased in the last 2 or 3 hours.
Oh my
Yours
gosh, that
truly
was
didn't have
that
an
night
empty
is
can all night.
that is a night for the history books, a night for the absolute history books. So okay, I can't really speak to mine because it was a blur for me too. Mine was like a 2 or 3 day ramp up leading to my wedding. But what was like? I'm curious. You mentioned it, like the different vibe from your wedding versus the different vibe from mine. Like, give me the quick compare contrast.
Yeah, so it's easy to kind of break down each day because Thursday there's about 25 friends and family that flew in and quite a few of them stayed with us at the house. And Thursday night, my mother-in-law cooked up and her sister cooked up a storm of empanadas and rice and beans for like 20 plus people.
I've heard
And
those empanadas are legendary too.
but there were some in the fridge too that in the freezer that you could have got your hands on. We forgot to tell people like there's leftovers, mainly because we wanted to eat them. But anyway, uh, yeah. So Thursday night was a karaoke night, capping off the beautiful dinner that we had, and that went hard late into the night. And then Friday was a marathon because I first thing in the morning I go play 18 with my best man and two great buddies, Robert Cardenas, we worked with in Abilene years ago at K Texas, and Van Nunley, who's a great buddy out here. Yeah, and the birdie juice was flowing at Sandia
Dude,
Casino, yeah,
yes.
golf course. So that was, what was our tea time? Like it was like 9 in the morning. So yeah, the alcohol consumption began early, and then took a break coming home. And what did you get? You got in about 4 p.m. that afternoon?
Yeah, I was like 4:30, what right around there. I got to the hotel, cleaned up, and then made my way over to your place. And
And there was already a decent amount of people here, right? By the
there
time you got
was,
here?
yeah. It was for the most part, it was family, a couple friends had come over.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll jump back. Like, yeah, I get over to the house and it's a really good solid buzz of people that are there. Everybody was a couple beers in, a couple drinks in, so vibe was really loose, really laid back. And then we get into the bachelor party, and my goodness, like that first place, like Van and Fred, like I know you sort of tasked them with putting together like the pub crawl that sort of derailed itself as the night went on. But that first place that we went to, the press club, is that right?
Albuquerque Press Club, which is essentially like a social club you have to be a member of, whether you're a member of the press or not, member of the media or not. And man, I love the vibe there the most. That's where we started off, and I kind of wish we hadn't left, to be honest. It was
Yeah.
super fun because we go from like the most chill atmosphere ever with mainly just us guys, and mind you, our roster was almost 20 people deep, and we rolled in a 20-person Hummer the
Yeah,
whole
dude.
night, which was like going back to prom or something.
That
And
was that was epic.
it really was. I mean, it was an amazing dream team scenario for me, man. The best buddies from Texas, New Mexico, and California all kind of joining forces as my version of the Avengers that night. Just all the best buddies meeting each other for the first time. It was so cool. Um, yeah, man. So like Friday was the bachelor party, whether it was in the morning golfing or ending the night with all my best buds. And then Saturday was the rehearsal stuff, which was very fun. Also, starting off with my son's preschool graduation, which I got my butt up bright and early to go do it, even though I wasn't in the best condition to do it. So yeah, Saturday was the rehearsal stuff, a lot more chill. Still saw some of you guys that night at Sandia Casino. We all kind of
Yeah.
got our bearings that for the next day, and some of us stayed at that casino on Saturday, and then Sunday was the big day, and we and you got to we got to share that morning together, the morning of the wedding. It was a 4 p.m. wedding, and we got our butts up for what, a 7:48 a.m.
Something like that. Yeah. 7:45, 7:48. Like,
Yeah, tea time at Twin
yeah.
Warriors Golf Club, which anyone who's ever been to New Mexico is one of the best. Some people consider it the best golf course in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Beautiful desert golf course. Man, it was you, Joel Villanueva, the old sports director from KRGV in South Texas and West Laco, Texas, and yourself riding together in a car. And then I got to ride with Ben Ozuna, who also worked at KRGV years ago with
Mm.
Joel and I, mainly as a production guy and now as a teacher. And that was a great start to the day, and super, super fun. I don't know. I guess I just kind of assumed going into the weekend, like, okay, I can throw in 2 golf rounds, a bachelor party, and all these things leading up to the wedding. Like, I don't know how I kept up with it, but I did, and then the wedding was just unbelievable.
I think one
Wedding
of the
was great.
best I think one of the best comparisons of the week leading up to a wedding, in a way, I would make this comparison to March Madness because of the mantra survive and advance. just survive and advance the next day,
Good call.
survive and advance to the wedding,
Good call. It
survive and
was like a
advance.
bracket. Good call, man. Some people didn't survive in advance.
Yes.
Some people were left behind one of those days and then they had to catch up and watch from the bleachers
Oh, I
on
know.
Sunday. Good call. That was my March Madness. That was my May Madness. Yeah, that's such a good call, man. Yeah, so you know, easily the best weekend of my life, no doubt about it, man. Just like the gathering of everybody and the bro time I got, and then you seeing my beautiful bride walk up, and then we had our honeymoon immediately after. So it was an 11-day off period for me, which I don't think I've ever had that many days off in my broadcasting career. So big shout out to Lee Faria, who gave me the green light on that and held the fort down out here in Albuquerque while I was gone for so long. So
Dude,
yeah,
I was basically that same time frame, that same like 11 days of like take a day off at the end of that week leading up to it. And because all the family gets there and like it's just this weird blur. You get back from everything, you have like a split second to chill, calm down for a moment, and then you drop right back into work. And that machine never stops. That cog is always turning, always burning. And you come back and it's like, okay, we're finishing we have baseball season going, track and field is going, New Mexico track and field is putting together a really nice, prep for postseason and nationals and all that. And you got to jump right back into that.
yeah, you're right, because they're still going as we speak while we record this at the NCAA championships in Eugene. So yeah, there was a good amount going on leading up. I mean, the high school calendar ended the weekend before the wedding, so then that was on purpose. I knew that it would have been best for everyone in the sports office. Okay, if we can get through high school season, then like make the wedding happen after that, so things aren't so crazy. But yeah, as soon as I got back to work, even though it's summer now, you still got stuff going on. So it was a hard adjustment to jump right back into work. And there's a grind, of every season, whether it's fall, winter, spring, and now summer. And every grind is has challenges. So yeah, jumping back into the summer grind wasn't easy, but you just do it. You just jump back in and you get back into the mode.
Took you about a week to really get back into it, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, I was shooting a lot of things right away, but definitely feeling tired. Like the energy wasn't quite there, a little
Yep.
jet lag from being in the Pacific Coast time for about a week.
A whole
Even though
hour different, dude. You wuss.
well, it is only 1 hour, man, but like when you're on your honeymoon, it feels like a lot more, it feels like a couple more hours. So yeah, and then we picked up our son on the tail end of the honeymoon. Our niece was born, our niece Lily, who's so beautiful. The first baby girl in the Ortega family. It's a big deal. It's like Game of Thrones status, man. It's the next ruler.
That child is already vaulted to most spoiled of all the children.
Easily.
Grand, like you take a back seat, baby daddy takes a back seat, whole 9 yards. Like that
Mhm.
kid is now, just this golden goose.
Yeah, we went through their baby registry and spent a couple $100, and I was like,
Had a boy.
gosh, we're already spoiling her, and she's still in her mother's belly. This is not a good sign. So, but nah, man, it's good. It's a beautiful thing, when your brother has his first girl, and you got to go down and see her. And then we brought Julian back to the San Diego Zoo, the tail end of our honeymoon, and yeah, it was an unbelievable 2 weeks, to say the least.
That's awesome. Hey, I know the last 2 years have been really weird, especially since we started the show during the pandemic and that glorified opportunity to catch up with our friends thing. And now that things are sort of opening up, and I feel like this coming football season, since we're under 100 days before the regular season begins, and we're already counting down the time to that. Like I feel like in a way, this is that first real football season since the pandemic began, because last year you still had COVID cancellations. You didn't know what was going to happen with games, if they were in limbo or not. Leagues hadn't 100% solidified their rules and regulations for that.
Right.
I mean, what's the buzz that you hear amongst Van and Fred, your boys in Albuquerque, and I see the buzz, at least from my end, that okay, this feels like it's really the first real season back from COVID in a way.
Right. Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind, the biggest difference is season football season coming up for 2022 and comparing it to 2021. I believe like vaccinations have a big factor in people feeling more comfortable. Cause like, correct me if I'm wrong, was it I mean, it probably was well before spring 2021 when vaccinations were really pouring out, right? Like, I don't even know if we were at the booster stage yet by that point. Uh,
No, we weren't.
right?
Boosters
Yeah.
weren't until I want to say mid fall, like September, October, maybe
Okay.
October, November of
Yeah.
21 before boosters were a real thing.
Yeah. So, like, comparing it to last fall, vaccinations were still relatively new, and there was a lot of debate. Who's going to get it, who's not.
Yeah.
How does that affect your athletic status? If you test positive, what does it mean to unvaccinated players to vaccinated players? We have like a whole year under our belt now of that, and yeah, so the rules keep changing and tweaking for all the different teams coming up in the fall. So I think that has people feeling a bit more normal, quote unquote. Yeah, I think that's definitely the first thing that comes to mind. Um, and I mean, gosh, we've been 2+ years of since COVID broke, and things continue to evolve, opening up, and sports just feeling more normal. I mean, that's I hate using that word over and over, but really does feel more normal. And gosh, it like kind of blows my mind thinking back to when we started Sports Amigos and we really were like in the thick of it still. Like vaccinations hadn't happened yet, and yeah, I mean we were in the thick of it. And when I think back to when we started this project, every time we recorded, I just forgot about COVID. Like
Yeah.
even though conversations certainly went there, but like it just made you feel like more you could just relate to everyone that we would bring on. And yeah, you just felt like you weren't alone in it as much, right? Because like I mean look, we have wife and kids at home that are in our bubble, but whether it was uh a sports reporter or sports writer or whoever that we brought on, someone that you knew or someone that I knew, we all kind of got to just like, I don't know, let your hair off or let your hair down a little bit, and just breathe together. And I think
Well,
that's one thing that yeah, like now that we're getting it back going, I'm looking forward to that a little bit more now.
yeah, well, it was kind of like finishing the day. You take the suit off, you wipe the makeup off the face, and take the
Kept mine on
IFB out of your ear.
it's all good.
Yeah, yeah, but you're done with that. You get that weight off your shoulders. You get that little world, weighing down on all of us in our own way, kind of thing. And it's okay. I get to take that off for a little bit and just hang it up. And then when we're done with this conversation, it's like paying the bar tab. All right, walking out to the car, goes back on. Got to put that winter coat back on, kind of thing. But yeah, I think that's a really, really unique observation of looking at how it impacted us. And yeah, I mean, I joke that glorified chance to hang out with our friends. Well, we needed that so much. We really, really needed that. But how nice is it that we can start doing that together and in person? And one of the best milestones of that I thought was the wedding, with us all getting to come back together. And there really was not, I mean, it's still a talking point, it's still a risk, it's still a thing, but it felt like, that was very much sort of a carefree environment when a destination wedding for 90% of the people there, and we were able to just sort of be carefree and put the world behind us for a couple days. Dude, that was the nice thing about that giant group for the bachelor party is I got along with everybody there. And I
Yeah,
had a blast. Like there, it was good conversation. It was fun. It was relaxed, and it was a consistent vibe across the board with absolutely everybody. And it's very much an extension of you, and it just shows like Brandon, you are the company you keep, kind of thing. You keep good company, and it showed in that Friday night and that whole weekend.
for sure. And that's why when I think back of the maybe two regrets I have of that night, really one of them is I really wish we would have stayed at Press Club because the conversations were great. the night was so chill because we go to the second place and then the energy went up because it was like a loud bar that had a live band,
Yep.
which I think it was like a country band or something. I don't even.
Yeah.
I didn't pay attention to the music as well, but like so everyone's talking louder and probably drinking more. And then the third place we went to was more of a club bar, and yeah, then that's where things went sour for me because just there was too many beverages coming my way.
Well,
Uh,
who was it? Was it Van or Fred that lined us up with like all of us,
Van.
like 4 shots apiece?
Oh, well, I heard several suspects were yeah
Yeah.
responsible for
I
that.
mean, I mean, I
Yeah.
wasn't driving, so I kicked back a couple drinks
That's why we
over the
got the
course of the
20
night.
person Hummer. Yeah, like
Right.
everybody have as much fun as you want because we got transportation. That was and it was also not just for us, it was for the bachelorette party that was
Right.
also going on down like 5 doors down for my bride and all of her ladies that very same night. So they got the transportation back and forth with us to go where they were going. Um yeah, man, it was a great time.
That really, really was. Really, really was. Hey, I wanted to ask you a little bit about this too. I know it's been a hot button topic for basically the last year. And I know that this goes back to, and you have ties to Steve O'Bannon, the O'Bannon family.
Ed, yes.
Ed O'Bannon, sorry, Ed O'Bannon. But the whole NIL discussion, wasn't Ed part of like the initial lawsuit or that initial step that kicked off this entire movement that we're at now?
Right. EA Sports
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, years ago, probably early 2000s, Ed O'Bannon was watching a friend play a video game, a college basketball video game, whatever it was called back then, NCAA hoops or March Madness. I don't know what they called it back then, but he was in the game. Ed
Yeah.
O'Bannon avatar was in the game for UCLA. He wanted the national. Do I have the poster right there? I don't know if anyone can see it.
Oh,
The
I know that poster.
the
Yeah,
1995
buddy.
UCLA poster right there, national championship team. Yeah, he was the MVP of what most outstanding player of the Final Four and the championship. They won it all in '95. So yeah, he's watching someone play. He's in the game and he's thinking, why am I not getting any money whatsoever for me being in this game? And that started what eventually became a lawsuit between the NCAA and former players. And that was a long time ago,
Yeah.
and a baby step towards what is now the NIL of college sports, name, image, likeness, and I mean it's only been a really about a year since we've had this going on, not even a year.
I think it's been like probably 9, 10 months.
Yeah, because
Because it was
because it
right around end of July, beginning of August, that sort of end of the academic year when everything flips over, beginning
right,
of August when players could start
which did not
monetizing.
which did not give colleges and businesses any time to
Yeah.
adjust. I mean, that was the time to do it, in the off season and in summer break. But to have a month or two to get ready for football season and make a structure, and there's still really not that much structure, even 9, 10 months removed, to how athletes can make money
You
and
basic
not let it get too nuts.
let's be honest, you basically have a skeleton with so little connective tissue between anything. It's a skeleton and some of the tendons and fibers coming off the thing
Yeah.
for what you have right now. And we are on the fly watching lawmakers, schools, conferences get the chunks of muscle and all everything together and sort of piecemeal this thing together on the fly, which has been really interesting, especially now with sort of this ruling that collectives cannot come in and be involved with bringing these high school recruits. The NCAA trying to sort of maintain that um, I don't know the right word, but maintain that distance between high school kids when they go to choose a school.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I mean, basically colleges are just throwing money now
Yeah.
at, and to my knowledge, the loophole that makes it NIL, it qualifies as an NIL deal is that they get a business to basically throw in the money
Mhm.
or, or yeah, like a local business or a local booster or just someone else that doesn't work at that university to bring in the money funneling it. I mean, like, there's so many, like, man, there's so much uncertainty, and like there's still not a lot of, what is the word I'm looking for? The schools aren't upfront about it enough. Like I feel like it needs to just be all laid out on the table. Like let's like we know athletes can make money now. So let's just be like super, super open with it, not make it, oh well, this person's getting $50,000 from this, and then the school's denying that. It's like, well, they can make money. Like, just tell us.
Welcome
Just
to
like,
the free market. Your athletic departments
yeah,
use that on a daily basis. Yeah, this is where it the entire NIL thing. I do not see black and white. I see every color of gray under the sun that makes up this entire discussion.
right.
It is so interesting to see it. And then did you hear about the Texas running back? His name's Bijan Robinson. He has a deal with I think it's Lamborghini of Austin. Where now he's driving around a Lambo. Like, and I know these car dealerships are going to come out and give these guys, nice cars like Ford, Toyota, and whatnot. But you know, props on Bijan for getting Lambo to back him up, because now I feel like it's a matter of time before Rolls Royce, Bugatti, and all these other major names are going to start throwing cars, and you're going to start seeing these guys high roll around town.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest. We've been seeing that for the longest time. The future NFL, NBA draft picks, they were already getting special treatment, whether it be money or some other form of benefits. Um, for me, the most interesting part of it will be, how do the players on the team that aren't really playing, especially when it comes to football, the rosters are so big, and even basketball, your bench players and rotation players. How are those people going to benefit your walk-ons? That aren't really
Yeah.
even on scholarship. Um, how are what's the financial effect going to be for all of those student athletes? And then you have your other sports, your Olympic sports, and you have soccer and baseball and softball, every other sport that's not on ESPN and primetime cable networks every season. How much more dough can they get to not be on the poverty line? Because most student athletes are. The scholarships they get cover mainly academic stuff, and they only get so much money to buy food and to take care of themselves and buy stuff for their houses and whatnot. Everyday sort of thing. So I don't know. I hope those student athletes are going to be taken care of just as much. Um, that it helps them just as much as the big money athletes.
You
I
know
want I
what
want
would
to I
be
want to see I want to see more improvement on that front.
Yeah, but you know what I think would be interesting? Neither of us asking the questions, but if we could facilitate a conversation between a, all conference, all American player on some incredible team. I don't really care the sport, but probably one of the top three sports, whether it's football, men's basketball, women's basketball,
Right.
and then a walk on or a freshman scholarship player coming in, American players, because they're the ones who can benefit off NIL right now. Have them dialogue and explain, pull the curtain back on what it's like facilitating these deals for themselves. What resources are there available to help them out from the school, from the athletic department, and what it's like for those walk-ons or freshman players who are brand new to this, that don't have that that power and that ooh-ah behind their name.
Yeah, and even like for myself covering the University of New Mexico, which compared to even the biggest schools in their conference, the financial difference is massive. There's just not, you don't have billionaire boosters over here. You
Yeah.
have barely some millionaire boosters out in these parts. And what's the competitive advantage for these bigger schools and these smaller schools? I mean, it was already a big there was already a big gap in the competition as it was, and NIL pretty much keeps it the same, but almost can make it worse too, because you have these bigger schools that can just lay down money to these recruits, and schools like New Mexico can't do that, even if they wanted to.
Well,
You know,
okay, so that makes me wonder what happens, and I'll give you two examples. USC or UCLA, I'll use that as an and or against, because those two schools have the entire all of Tinseltown, Hollywood, and Los Angeles at their disposal. Put that up against Oregon, which has Nike and Phil Knight. And what is that dynamic like for each of those schools? Compare and contrast those two as well. Because
right,
I mean, you go from the player level of star versus non-star, and then looking at New Mexico, like you said, where they have, some donors, but nothing as heavy hitting as a Phil Knight or anything, and not nowhere near as deep a pool of investors basically and donors as big as like the USC's, the UCLA's, or a single donor basically like Phil Knight at Oregon. Because you're right, it still feels like it's sort of a rich get richer kind of thing
yeah,
when you look at some of these power 5 schools. But then I wonder, Alabama is in Nowhereville, Alabama. I mean, the coolest thing about Tuscaloosa is like the Taco Bell right off campus, or whatever their local dining, whatever their local hotspot is. I mean, that's like Nowheresville, Texas when we were living there. It's like, where do you go after the game on a Friday night? Go to Dairy Queen.
you know who we have to talk NIL with when we get him on is Brian Holland. For those
Oh,
that don't
yes.
know, pretty much nobody knows. We recorded an episode with the great Brian Holland, who works in Baton Rouge. What station is he at?
Oh, I don't remember, but he covers LSU.
He
I
covers
know that.
LSU. He's a sports director in Baton Rouge. And so he's in the heart of SEC country. He travels to all of these different stadiums, especially for football season. So yeah, he would of the Sports Amigos guests we've had on so far, I would say he's probably got the best perspective on how LSU is already being affected and how they're trying to keep up with your Alabamas and all the other great SEC programs. And those continue to grow because Texas and Oklahoma, right? Aren't they both on the
Yeah,
way
they're
to
both headed out there.
the
I don't know how
SEC?
they're going to break everybody up, but I think 2024 or 2025 they're going to switch out that Big 12 patch for SEC. But it sounds like they're still going to maintain the Red River Shootout at the Cotton Bowl, which I for one am like, I love the tradition of those games. So more power to them. But
Good.
yeah, they're headed down that way, and I think that means like the Longhorn Network is going to be dissolved as they move over. But you're right, like guys like Brian Holland, who are in the thick of that, who he has deep ties back to East Texas, and then small town Texas USA when he was working K Texas and Abilene, and then a couple stations he was at up in Lubbock. So he has
Brian Keating too,
yeah, yeah,
covering Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, who was our first Sports Amigos guest
yeah.
of our program. So both of
Between
them would be great.
between those two guys, I mean, you have such an expanse of knowledge of markets and teams and donor pools, because I mean, let's face it, the donor pool at LSU, Baton Rouge is not the biggest, but I would bet big money on the fact that their donor pool is massive.
Yeah.
It's the SEC, so just about every school is going to have a massive donor pool, but there are very few SEC donor pools that are as diehard as the LSU's, the Alabamas, and the Floridas of the world down there,
Mm-hmm.
is what I would think.
Yeah, it's good. It's a lot. That's a lot to chew on, and we're gonna be able to chew on that stuff for years to come.
Yeah, man.
All right, it's time for the first lightning round in a long time.
The lightning round.
I miss that Friends jingle so stinking much. It makes me so happy. It fills my heart and the cockles of my heart with joy because now I get to throw questions at you. It was sort of you and I de facto throwing these questions at somebody else, but now I get to turn it on you, and I'm pretty proud of this. I
Yes.
must say.
You're so good at these. I can't wait to hear this.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. That means a lot. This is like I take a piece of my soul and just massage it into the words on the page here. I try and
You
I
write it
try and
down on a
manifest.
notepad and everything. I love that.
I try and manifest love with these words, Brandon. I hope you know that.
You should frame this one. This is probably the only one we're going to do, just me and you.
Probably. Okay. So as we all know, lightning round is 10 questions. The mantra is 10 questions, 10 quick answers, but we know for a fact it's never quick answers with this. It's just 10 questions and we see wherever the heck this takes us. So I got to ask you, have you tried, and I'll let you explain this. Have you tried the tequila I gave you?
No. I'm going to save that for a special occasion. No,
Okay.
I didn't want to just go because I mean, come on, man.
I know. I had to do that.
All the beverages that were consumed that weekend. We didn't even do that very much on the honeymoon because we were so like, oh my God, another drink, Jesus! Like, yeah, we pumped the brakes on that stuff.
Background. So background on this tequila that I gave you. You were the one that turned me on to the show Breaking Bad, and amazing show, well done. Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul, two incredible people. Those two brilliant minds actually got together and they created their own brand, their own line of tequila. It's called Dos Hombres Mezcal. And of course, when I was in Albuquerque for the wedding, I knew I got to pick up a bottle of this. This is going to be my gift to you two. Or no, just more so to you because I got you like a different gift. But this is going to be like my gift to you, like my brotherly gift to you. And of course, it turns out that Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul were in town the week before because they were shooting their scenes for the final season of Better Call Saul. But I was so excited, and I'm really glad that you said I'm going to save it for a special occasion.
Yeah, no, I got to save it for a special occasion. I don't know if it's going to be until the next time I see you, but if we end up are able to see each other in the near future, then I'm going to have to bring it wherever we are, whether it's me going to Arizona or wherever. No, it's got to be for a special occasion. I couldn't just like drink it without, by myself. I don't ever drink by myself, let alone with that special gift. So no, I'm waiting it out.
Okay. We talked about the marathon that is the week leading up to a wedding and like the first day after. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being, they are like pouring you into the grave, basically. How tired were you and Becca when the wedding is over, reception is done, you get back up to the hotel room at the end of the night? How wiped were you guys?
We were wiped. We were very wiped that night. But at the same time, we also had a little bit of adrenaline from like, man, like we did it. Like that was, and the wedding was so fun. And I danced so much. And
you were burning it up on the floor, man.
I tried
burning it up.
I tried to. My son Julian wanted to be held for the majority of the end of the wedding. So I was also carrying his 4-year-old, almost 5-year-old butt for a good hour plus on the dance floor. So that on top of it got added to the soreness on Monday. But no, honestly, Sunday night, we actually had enough energy to go down one floor to the great Robert Cardenas's suite, where a couple of people were just kind of winding down the night in his room. And yeah, we went down there, and I think I had a glass of champagne or something, and said hi and bye to a couple more people because that was really it. That like most people were flying at different hours of Monday. So, but it was funny. We had about 9 or 10 people on our connecting flight from Albuquerque from the wedding. Going from Albuquerque to Phoenix, and then everyone split up after that. People were going to Northern California, Southern California, Reno, Nevada. Like people were really splitting up at the connection. But
Wait, Joel was on your flight too?
Joel was on my flight.
That's
So
awesome.
my cousin Lynette and Josh, my cousin Andy and Emily, Becca's sister Misa, and future brother-in-law Keith. Who did you get to meet? Keith much? Keith was really responsible for getting me to the level I got to. He didn't let me have an empty hand all night.
No, he did not. Keith did his job very effectively. I
But then he
had a
took
couple
care of me
chances seeing
too.
him.
Then he took care of me.
Yes, he
we were going
did.
to leave out the gory details, but people had to carry me home from the vehicle into my house. I had to be carried into the house, and Keith was one of them. Right? He was one of the guys carrying me?
Yeah. Oh, dude, Keith like took ownership of getting you from the library, the name of spot number 3 we went to the trash can, and then into the limo, and then he was like holding you up. He just had like an arm around you the entire time, making sure you weren't like
he's a pretty
flopping
big,
around.
strong guy, so he was
Dude,
a good candidate to do that.
Yeah.
And I think he felt sort of responsible for.
He did a good job. You
So,
chose good people to rep you
man.
and take care of you.
He was the last addition to it too, because he flew in that day. And we just don't talk very often. I don't talk to him and to my sister-in-law a ton on the regular. And yeah, literally like at 1 p.m., I think I was at the golf course, and was like, "Hey man, heard you guys just flew in. Bachelor party tonight. You're coming." He's like, "Oh, all right, cool. I guess I'm coming."
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, man. A good last addition.
And I will say, I helped load you into the limo, and then I helped make sure the path was clear to get you into your room to close out the night. So I got you. You're my boy. My boy.
Yeah, but we see, this is the rants that we were talking about. Yeah, we were tired on Sunday, but it was really Monday when we got to the hotel in San Diego. That's where like, yeah, the gas tank was just empty. And yeah, Monday night, Tuesday morning, we slept more than we had, I think, in our entire lives. I think it was a good 15, 16 hour sleep. So
awesome.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, as well it should be. Next question. Everybody has a favorite memory or a couple memories, but what was your favorite memory of Becca on your wedding day?
All right. I would probably say the toasts. Her and I holding hands, listening to her maid of honor. And I had 2 best men, which I got a lot of flack for from my mother-in-law. It's like, "You're only supposed to have one." I'm like, "No, it's hard enough to choose 2, let alone 1." So, because it was my groomsmen were my 2 brothers, Rick and Kurt, and then Derek and Juan are my best men. I've known Juan since I was 10, Derek since I was about 11 or 12, and we've just been brothers from other mothers ever since. I was Juan's best man in his wedding, so it's like I was his best man. He's got to be my best man already,
dude. Like, exactly.
Like, and Ricky, my brother, I was his best man. So I was like, dang, like he's gonna be a groomsman, but it's gonna be really hard to make him a best man because I only can pick 2. So anyway, yeah, we held hands, listening to like 3 truly touching and heartfelt speeches, and they were all very different too. In their own, they had their own. Yeah, they were all unique. So yeah, that's maybe the first thing that comes to mind, because the dinner was really nice. So we felt really nice.
Yeah,
like, full, and people were really loving the food. So we were all like, yeah, like, oh, I picked that.
You guys picked a good spread for food. The food you guys picked was very well done.
There's a good variety, and it was buffet, which I was like, it's gotta be buffet. Like, people got to be able to go get seconds and thirds.
Yep.
We had like 5 people back out for health reasons. So that there was extra food to go around. So, and people went for it. So yeah. So like after dinner, we were like, oh God, that was so good. And then that led into the toasts. And yeah, I remember like, look, because there was a lot of funny moments that we kept looking at each other, like reacting to. And then there were some very touching moments that we kept looking at each other and agreeing with each other on what we were hearing. So yeah, I would say the toast, if I could pick one with her, outside of the actual, I do's and you may kiss the bride. Like, I felt like that was the easy answer to go. So yeah, along with that would be the toasts.
I like that. You segue better than I could probably segue into this next question because you brought up the speeches. Who had the best man speech?
It's not fair. Yeah, it's really unfair.
Of course, it's not fair. That's why I gotta ask.
Because they're both so good. If I had, okay, Juan's was definitely more heartfelt, because he's a bit of a philosophizer. Am I saying that right? And he reads a book a week. Like, the guy is one of the smartest people that I know. Derek's was funnier though. Derek had this great bit, which he'd never told me. Our entire lives we've known each other, 20 plus years knowing each other. He told this story I'd never heard, where the gist of it was when he saw me for the first time, we were like 11 or 12 years old. He used to live across the street from an elementary school that I used to go to every day to play basketball or rollerblade or just do something, because it was just like, yeah, it was the nearest. It was basically my park because it was so close. And he told this story how he saw me rollerblading one day, and he was really skinny and he had his like chest pushed out. And I remember looking at him. This is Derek talking about me. He's like, I remember looking at him like, he looks like a little dick.
I remember that. That was such a good moment.
And the whole place
Yes.
lost its shit, like laughing.
Yes.
Everyone was laughing their butts off, including me. Like, I was laughing so hard. And I was also turning to Becca like, what the F? Like, what? I've never heard this story. So Derek probably gets first place, but Juan was right behind him. Juan's was he's a legendary public speaker. He's not shy to talk in front of people. And it's funny because Derek is not, I would say, not a great public speaker, at least doesn't have the confidence that Juan has. I would probably give it to Derek just because he had a couple of more moments that were just like, yeah, he's classic.
Dude, he demonstrated the Brandon run. He got out there and he was doing the Brandon run too. He took a couple good, solid, reenacted Brandon steps. I was gonna give my vote to him because of specifically that.
Well, great point, because Juan stood right next to me. We had one of those head tables.
Yeah.
Me and Becca sat next to each other, and then groomsmen were on my left, the bridesmaids were on her right, all at the same table. Derek took it upon himself, because Derek was the first of the two best men. Right? Wasn't Derek first?
No,
he was second.
Yeah, Derek was second.
He was. Yeah, because when he started, he was like, I don't know how the hell I'm going to follow Juan right now, because Juan's was very good. But what he did was he got up off his seat and then he walked to the dance floor. He like stood on the dance floor. And I was like, Oh, what's this about? This is interesting. Is he doing it to feel more comfortable so he could walk around? But it was like a specific choice because he had certain things planned out that he was going to do, like reenacting my walk and my chest pump or whatever he called it. He knew what he was doing, that bastard.
It was brilliant.
And it was great.
He had good comedic timing on that too. You could tell he practiced, he groomed it, and props to him.
Derek is easily one of the funniest people in the world, and he doesn't have to like Jim Carrey it or, Will Ferrell it. Like, he does it in a very subtle, dry, very smooth way, and it pisses me off because he just like so naturally funny. He's been that way since we were 12.
That's awesome. Moving on to the next one. Did you guys get any quirky or unique wedding gifts? Because I feel like there's always like one or two gifts that you get that are just sort of like a little out of left field, but never quite like the bachelor or bachelorette party gifts that always involve something in the shape of a penis. But but I still feel like wedding gifts, there's always something that is so unique or quirky. Like, why would they ever associate us with this?
Should I go get Becca to see if she wants?
Yes, do it. Okay, so the next question on my list is, and I'll preface it by saying this: bachelor and bachelorette parties are always left for the blow up dolls and stuff in the shapes of dongs. But there's always like some wedding gift that is so unique that you you and your significant other think, why would anybody associate us with this? Did you guys get any kind of gifts like that just sort of felt like they're not, they're not like gross or anything, but they're just like a little out of left field?
What do you think?
No. Everybody got us stuff from our registry, and
We made a list, a very detailed list, and like obviously there's a lot of money, which is great.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Yeah, I understand. It's going to. Yeah, I thought there might be something, but there really wasn't. It was just all very thoughtful gifts, right?
yeah, I got some really nice lingerie. Yeah.
Oh. Maybe I saw that already. Maybe I didn't.
Win-win for you both.
No, I know. Like everybody got us gifts from our registry, or they gave us cash, which I was really happy to get because I was trying to pay off that wedding.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. So no, everybody. No, I didn't get anything quirky. I didn't get anything out of the
Yeah,
norm.
I thought there might have been one thing, but
no dildos, no icicles shaped like penises. It was very respectful, I think. And
what about the bridal gifts or on the bachelorette night?
That's where I would expect.
You didn't get anything out of the ordinary?
no, I didn't. Well, for the bridal shower, it was very windy, so like all the tablecloths and all that had to be taken off because it was windy. But there wasn't any like weird games or anything. Just nothing out of the norm.
Yeah, but like bachelorette night, that no one gave you anything funny?
I remember half of the bachelor.
Yeah, so I think honestly I remember more of our
You two have that in common. That's a
bachelor
major win for you two
experience
as a couple.
But we both bounced up the next morning.
I was up at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Showered.
Girl.
Called you and like, hey.
No, I called you. I got up at 8 a.m. sharp, and I was like, oh man, I wonder what shape she's in. And was like, hey babe, what's up? What?
Dude, that is such.
All the while, my best friend was vomiting in the bathroom. She's like, I was trying to keep up. I was like, yeah, I know.
I truly did not know what shape Brandon was going to be in when I drove up that afternoon. I just thought, all right, let's see how he's doing. And when Brandon popped out in typical Brandon fashion, I thought the dude still rallies like a pro.
Yeah,
My
he
goodness.
had to rally because I was like up and going. I was up and ready to go. And he was like, oh shit, I need to rally.
Yeah, and as a reminder, it was our son's preschool graduation. And I took it upon myself. I got to take pictures. I got to take video. Like,
yeah.
I mean, the grandparents were all from out of town in attendance. So I got to get some good documentation of this for them. So, yeah, just like that state championship in 2013 where I had to rally. But, man, I shot up those games, man. Those were good highlights.
There were a couple of times during the graduation that I threw up in my mouth and swallowed it, but whatever. I had coffee in my hand. So.
I had gum in my mouth. That's my big secret for rallying. I have to.
That goes back years.
Good shape.
Yeah, you chew. Yeah, you chew gum all the time.
Get the fluid going, and I get the sugar going in my system.
Well,
yeah,
I think we actually had Pedialyte in the fridge too in the house for all the drunks. But
smart.
Where I was at, because I was at the hotel room with my best friend. Yeah. But I don't know how the hell I got up, but I got up. I was drinking tons of tequila, tons of shots.
Oh, I don't even think you're aware of this. Mike gifted me tequila from that Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul created, the guys from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I know who they are.
Yeah. He gifted me that as like a
cool.
wedding weekend gift. So we have that for a special occasion.
Oh, we should do that before I start working.
All right, that might be the first little dose of that gift. Yeah,
getting older.
Becca is currently on so she finished working at an allergy clinic, and she just got a great job at UNMH, the big hospital in town. So she gets about a month off in between those jobs.
Nice.
So yeah, actually my birthday is going to be right before you start working. So maybe
there you go.
36th birthday. Have to have a couple of shots of that and FaceTime Mike.
Yeah.
Welcome to your late 30s, almost.
I'm past the mid-30s now.
I'm not in the mid-30s yet. I'm close to them.
Dude, I'm going to be 38 next month.
Yeah, she's a year and change behind me.
I'm 2 years and change behind you.
No, it's a year and change.
2 years. I was born in 88.
Yeah, and I
You
was
and Carrie are the same age.
I was 80. No, I'm 86. It was a year and change. It's not 2 years. It's not even over 2 years.
86, Brandon.
She's so bad at math. She's so bad. All right. Do you want to include her on the next one, or should we let her?
No, we're good. We're good. I appreciate you coming up and joining us.
All right, cool.
Sure, 'cause I got some juicy stuff. Just kidding.
She can have her own episode.
We're gonna have to do
We
one.
can have
where...
a wives episode because she's my wife now.
Ooh, yes.
Wives episode.
Wives.
Yeah, because you and Carrie. We'd have you and Carrie join the Zooms.
Yes.
The Wives Club.
It is decided.
The Amigas.
Decided.
Amigas. Yeah. All right, babe.
Okay.
Are you gonna sleep with Julian tonight?
I was just laying with him, so he's been having some night terrors. So
Mm.
I'll probably just go to my bed. It's nice and comfy. I don't know. Way comfy.
You have the TV on, so I'll join him when I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay, love you.
Love you, babe.
We'll keep it moving from the wedding gifts to the bachelor party and the limited memory that you have. Do you have a favorite bachelor party moment, joke, interaction that you had that that was the best, little moment of the night?
I'll go two different versions because I'll go with like the heartfelt moment. I had this moment where, we were barely a couple miles into our first ride from the house to stop number one, and the shots were flowing.
Yep.
And drinks were flowing. And I think after the shots had stopped, I turned to my cousin Andy, my buddy Ben, Keith, trying to remember Juan, all the guys that were within earshot because it was loud. We had the music playing pretty loud. My initial plan was to have everyone chip in, and because it wasn't cheap, but I had this moment where I looked at all these guys and I was like, you know what, guys, I was gonna ask everyone to chip in, but like this moment is so profound, having all of you guys in this car together, and everyone's having the best time. Everyone's getting along so well. I was like, nah, man, your guys' money doesn't mean anything, man. This is what means everything here. That we're all here, and that we're never gonna have a moment like this ever again, probably. Where I can get all of you guys to fly into the city that I live in. That's not close to really anybody. You're probably the closest one. And how far of a drive is that?
It was like 7 hour, 7 hour drive. Yeah.
You're the only one really drivable. Everyone else had to fly. That was a really, really nice moment that I got to share with a couple of the guys. You know what? I don't want any of you guys to chip in for this. I know you guys will chip in other aspects of the night, but nah, man, that moment was really, really beautiful. Just kind of it was like enjoying. I was trying not to talk that much during the ride. I was kind of trying to listen to everyone else. You know? And keep drinking the drinks that were handed to me. So that was the touching memory I had. The funniest moment, oh man, the funniest stuff probably happened when my memory cleared out. Probably, I don't know. So many of those guys are funny.
Yeah.
In different ways. Some of them could be stand-up comedians. Some of them, like Derek, aren't the most talkative, but when they talk, it is so on the money. The timing is always so funny. I don't know if I have a funny moment of the night because the whole night I was laughing. I really was.
Yeah.
I was either laughing or I was smiling from the laughter. It was a constant. Yeah, just beautiful. Just just a fun night. So yeah. Sorry, I don't really have a funny one. If I could think of a funny one, we'll go back to it.
I have one moment because there are always plenty of pictures that we will, as a group, share amongst us until the end of time. But I still think there was one point you bought nachos at one point. I don't know if you remember much of this. You bought nachos from the taco truck outside.
After the library.
Yeah.
No,
I ended up eating half of them.
No,
because you were running around. Brandon, come eat your nachos. No, bang, 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 bang. You're doing your little thing, running around being a goofball. And so, all right, I'm going to eat his nachos.
I'll tell you right now, I 100% don't remember buying the nachos. I'll just tell you that right now.
Well, that is a moment that I remember, and I will remember until the end of time.
Beautiful.
That was a good one.
Okay, you know what? I do have one, but like clearly I don't remember it because it was after the library. I was shown a video. Oh, and you know what? I'm just gonna show this right now because this is gonna be on my body the rest of my life. Right there.
Oh, yeah.
There's a good little gash. So it was the moment you were standing right in front of me when this happened. I saw this video. My brother Curtis was holding me like that. And I was just like, I had my head on his shoulder, like, no, brother, I love you. Like, I'm feeling good. And then like I took my arm off of him and I was like, and his arm still next to me. I was like, I started like licking his arm. And he's just looking at me like, oh, Brandon. Like he's done so many times before. And then I proceed to, and I'm exhausted, because I mean, it's at this point, it's already been, I don't know, 16, 17-hour day.
Right.
At least at that point. And so I just proceed to lay down behind where you were standing. And it was like where the big window of the bar is. There's like a tiny little ledge, but there's also these pointy iron fence things.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember those.
And I laid down on it.
Oh.
So, but I don't remember this, but I saw the video.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, you see me laying down, and right before the video ends, you hear me say, "Ow!" because my skin is being pierced.
I vaguely remember the ow, but I do remember you laying down on that.
Yeah.
And then of course, right next to us, I think it was Larry, who he ended up buying
who took silver in the drum.
he took silver.
Clearly,
it was like gold, silver.
Gold.
You two, gold, silver, everybody else a mile behind. But I'm not so he did the same thing. He bought tacos and he had a good night because he sat down and he fell asleep right next to you. And I'm not kidding you. He fell asleep with the tacos like still up in his hand like this. And they slowly moved down a little bit and he dropped them like right there on the sidewalk. He had eaten like half of one taco.
Casualties.
And then he went back and bought more tacos.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, Larry was the silver medalist. Shout out to Rich. Rich got bronze from what I heard. Because Larry forgot his ID going from one place to the other.
Yes.
He tells Rich like, "Oh, I don't got my ID." So Rich decides to try to be a hero, goes to the previous place, which had a line, like a really long line to get in. He proceeds to hop the fence to be like, "Oh, I just got to get my friend's ID." And then two security guards tackled him.
Oh,
yeah. And then Juan and someone else intervene and are like, "No, he's cool. He's cool. He's just trying to get his buddy's ID. He's not trying to cause trouble. Like, let him go, please, please, please." And yeah, they saved him. So yeah, he was right behind Larry.
So he gets bronze, but he gets bachelor party MVP. Basically, is what he gets.
Oh, dude, yeah. Yeah.
Juan. So I still think like co MVP, him and Juan, because Juan got you back to bed. Yeah. So that's what makes him like 1A MVP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I would say
there was a lot of heroes that night. I was not.
Good night. It was a good night. All right, we got to move on to the next question. Right. And on the day of the wedding, you mentioned earlier, you, me, Ben, and Joel go golfing at Twin Warriors Golf Club. Gorgeous course, gorgeous location up in the hills, beautiful layout. It was a fun day, but I gotta ask, we all had our moments, but from what you saw, who had the better day on the links, me or Joel?
Man, okay. It's definitely not Ben. Ben was having a rough. He doesn't play a lot. In fact, I think, and look, I hadn't seen him in over 4 years, and I think he said he had played one time since the last time he saw me. So, yeah, not sharp. He wasn't sharp for that day. So it was definitely between you and Joel. He was close, man, because you definitely were the best with the fairway woods. I would say you had the strongest fairway game. Driving, I guess it probably would go to Joelle.
It would.
Probably. Yeah,
I
yeah,
would
yeah.
agree.
So it comes down to putting. And you made a birdie. 2. You made 2 birdies. Joelle didn't make any birdies. So yeah, if those are your 3 faces, then it goes to you, man. Yeah, because yeah, you got him in the fairway, he got you in the tee, but you made 2 birdies. So, and also let's be fully transparent with the audience. We were scrambling.
We were. Made it so much more fun.
There's 2 big reasons. One, I just thought it would be more fun because we
Yeah.
could like team up and like, yeah, get a lower score together. And then 2, for time, because there was a little bit of nervousness in me, like, oh man, we can't take too long because I'm gonna like, be late to the first.
Dude,
that
I would
was the day
have
of the
been
wedding.
right there. I would have been right there with you, like saying, "Hey, it's such and such a clock. We got to pick up the pace." So,
Right.
dude, you made the right call going on a scramble. But I'm so glad you said that, because now I can say Sports Amigos, signed, sealed, delivered from the man himself. I'm sorry, Joelle, but it is decided.
It is decided. You guys got a warm up round together at Los
Yeah.
Altos golf course the day before, which I was so glad you guys were both down to do. I was really hoping you guys would hang out some on Saturday. So that was awesome.
I think we would probably agree. We were a little pissed off at you at the end of that round because we get into the back 9, the wind picks up. It was blowing probably 35, 40 when we get to the last 3 or 4 holes, and we're going into the wind for the last 3 or 4 holes.
Nice.
And I just remember, dust being kicked up in my face. And I thought, well, Joelle and I are out here suffering. So I kind of want to punch Brandon in the face, but I can't do that because it's his wedding. So I'll just berate him verbally next time we're on the show.
We didn't really get too much wind either at Twin. Not really.
It was great. It was awesome.
Weather was actually like perfect. It wasn't even hot at all.
It was. Yeah. Okay. So we're down to the last 2 questions. There's one question in particular I'm saving for the very last. So I'm gonna go with this next one. Is there anything about your wedding weekend, the whole thing, that you would do different, or that you wish, man, I wish that would have been changed a little bit? Because I know weddings are, they turn out the way sort of they're meant to be, but sometimes there's somebody who has that little thing.
Yeah, the little thing that immediately pops in my head is my mother was disappointed that certain pictures were not taken. So like we have the ceremony, and then immediately after we take like the family pictures.
Yeah.
And there was an organization on that. Becca did have a list, like, okay, we got to get pictures of A, B, C, and D, and she forgot it in her room or something. So that made the photography, that section of the photographer's day, just like bad. It didn't go well. Like we felt rushed, and Becca had to go to the bathroom in the middle of it, and her big old.
I remember watching her. Hey, bye. She just
Yeah.
runs in and goes to the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, that's there's only so much you could do about it. Yeah, if I'm just gonna be like nitpicky on the wedding, and that's probably more on us than the photographer. We should have had a list for her. Yeah, like I didn't even get a picture with like, and neither did Becca, with like our parents and siblings, with each like each immediate family. I think we each got pictures with her parents and then with my parents and stuff. But there were certain pictures that weren't taken that bugged my mom in particular, and rightfully so. Like, that would have been super ideal to do, but it didn't get done. So, that's probably the one I would say. That's a very wedding.
Makes sense.
Answer there. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. It makes sense. You being a man of music and a man of many covers, I was a little surprised. There were a lot of walk-up songs, and a lot of very well chosen walk-up songs, I should say.
The reception, the grand entrances.
Well, there were some songs chosen for the walk-up when you came up prior to the ceremony itself.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. But I'll use the reception as well. And I noticed one thing.
Talking about the wedding ceremony.
The wedding ceremony. I noticed one thing that surprised me, that felt like it was very much against the Ortega grain, the Ortega DNA. I did not hear any Foo Fighters on the day. And I was a little concerned.
Okay. So music was started to get played. Okay. the ceremony was at 4, and the DJ arrived before 3, and we had a playlist ready for him for that, for like leading up to the ceremony. This is specific music that you have to play to set the mood, to set the vibe, because it wasn't all like lovey-dovey, like, or like classical, orchestral music. It was like top 40 songs. It was like 311. It was like I can't remember most of the Latin artists that Becca picked, like Spanish music.
Dude, she had some good flavor in those songs, man.
Oh yeah, like it was
great
like,
songs.
A couple of them were like love songs that were slower, but most of them were upbeat love songs. I did have one Foo Fighters song in there, which is called "But Honestly," which is more of a deep cut of the Foo Fighters. But yeah, I think it was maybe in the like 45-minute mark of the like hour plus playlist we gave him. I think he made it into like minute 40 because he started playing it pretty early, well before 3. We told him to start playing at 3:30, but I think he started playing at like 3:15 or somewhere.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, there was one Foo Fighter song planned to be played for the ceremony. There was a Foo Fighter song for the walk-ups. My best man Derek's song was a Foo Fighter song called "Low."
Okay.
So that was the one moment of the whole night where a Foo Fighter song got played, but it was like a 10-second, 15-second clip.
So I want to put you on the spot then, because I know that if the day ever came that Dave Grohl had the opportunity, because he would be blessed enough to meet you, that if he ever played a walk-up song for you, this is Dave Grohl live and in person playing a walk-up song for you, what song would Dave Grohl play as you walk up?
I'm just going to start eliminating songs first because that's just how I'm going to have to process this. Wouldn't Be Ever Long. This is like for me and Becca to walk into the room. Like, what is this?
This is I just think of Brandon
walking down to the aisle.
Like if this is Dave Grohl playing an entrance, and of course I think of like, let's use it as your reception entrance.
Okay.
What song is Dave Grohl playing for your reception entrance?
An acoustic guitar.
Your call. It could be full band or it could be acoustic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave that up to you.
Well, if it's full band, it has to be 2 different answers. If it's full band and acoustic, full band would be easier. Full band would probably be like Breakout.
Okay.
I played that at Bar 14. The first time I did an open mic in Abilene, you and Rob, where like two like wingmen that night. I was newly single, and you guys were like my like support that night, because it was probably like the first time I went out after becoming newly single. And I was like, oh, you know what? This is an open mic. I'm probably gonna play. I gotta bring my guitar. And sure enough, I played like 4 or 5 songs, and I think Breakout was the first one.
Yep.
Remember that? Yeah.
That was a good one.
So I'll go Breakout for full band because it's a good rocker. It's good. It's a good walk-up song. If it's acoustic, it's way more challenging. I like his acoustic version of "Learn to Fly." I'll go with that. It's a good one.
Learn to Fly is one that I could see up there. I know it's really common, but I could still see it being used times like these. Times like these, acoustic is such a good performance.
You're right.
And anytime I hear him play that acoustic, it's just I will stop what I'm doing. But you're right, like Breakout is another good one. Learn to Fly is one of my favorite Foo Fighters songs.
It's a good one.
It is.
Did you see on the Foo Fighters note, they are doing a tribute to Taylor Hawkins concert in September. There will be one in London and one in LA.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
awesome.
I'm gonna try to get to LA for that.
Yeah, as well you should. I would expect you to be at that. That was they're gonna go big for that, man. They're gonna go large and in charge for those concerts. I know it.
Rest in peace to Taylor.
Amen, man. Amen. We made it through. We've brought back the Sports Amigos.
Dude, another amazing lightning round.
Thank you. I mean,
so good.
You got to have, above all else, keep your sense of humor. And at weddings, it's just as much sentimental as we should be laughing, like reimagining Brandon running around as a child with his chest puffed out.
I think rollerblades too. I think
Yeah.
his conversation was like, I think that's what also made it funny is he was like sliding like he was on rollerblades.
Yes, he
while he was
did.
doing it. Son of a bitch. That's so good.
Yep.
So good. Yeah.
Times, man. We
They're
did it. We made it through another one. Survive and advance, March Madness style.
Yeah, so we'll post this before a throwback episode that never got aired with our buddy Ryan. How do we say Ryan's last name?
I don't remember.
Well, here's what's hilarious about Ryan's episode. He was working for a certain website in Arizona. He now works for Pac-12 Network. He now works for Pac12.com.
That's right.
Doesn't even have the same job anymore.
No, he doesn't. I think it's Ryan Kelpier is how he said his last name.
Yeah, who we had a great conversation with, covering mainly University of Arizona athletics.
Yeah.
And yeah, really sharp, young dude. And yeah, now went on to a great job at Pac12.com.
He's really settled into that role too. I still see a lot of his stuff, and he's still full gear.
Right. So yeah, you can check out the Sports Amigos YouTube with Ryan's episode airing on June 15th that evening. So yeah, look forward to that. But no, this is great, man. We're finally getting the ball rolling again. We're lining up some guests as we speak for season 2 of Sports Amigos. So yeah, cheers to that, man. Let's get it going.
Let's do it, buddy. Good to see you as always.